How y'all doing today? My name's Zain, and today's topic of discussion is going to be pace yourself. Be patient with yourself. Give yourself time. Be patient with yourself. Pace yourself. Give yourself time. Now, when I'm thinking about this topic, I'm thinking about how all too often people, when they fall short of their goals, or they give up on something, or they move on to the next, or they just find themselves picking up and putting down a lot of the things, it's because you didn't pace yourself or give yourself patience on whatever it is that you're trying to do. This is the reason why in my earlier videos I referenced a lot of times of referring to or talking about referencing and referring, same thing. I spent a lot of time having you try to map out a game plan on what it is that you're trying to do, because research can be your biggest benefactor to getting things done. Be your biggest benefit to getting things done. When you do your research, you get to do a little sneak peek in what's in it for you down the road. Some of the obstacles you might come up against, some of the successes that you may have in doing certain things or choosing not to do certain things, avoiding some pitfalls. Research allows you to do all of that. And one of the things that I can speak with myself in regards to accomplishing some goals and looking how research has helped me out on certain things that I thought may be instantaneous. Doing my research before even lifting a finger to do anything other than doing the research, it set those expectations for me where I knew certain things that I attempted to do, it wasn't going to be instant gratification. It wasn't going to instantly be a reward. I wasn't going to see those results until further down the road, if any. When you're being patient with yourself and just sticking to your guns on whatever it is that you're trying to do, remember the reason that you're trying to do whatever it is that you're doing, remember those long-term goals, it allows you to continue doing what you're doing without having to worry about reaping a benefit. Excuse me. That's the reason why with that business plan, and I may be quoting this wrong, when they state, generally when you open a business, you got to be prepared not to pay yourself for at least 5 years, or most businesses don't really turn a profit until after so long. Like I said, I'm not a business major. I'm just going off of, some of the things that I've heard. But some of those things are true. Well, a lot of those things are true. And the reason why they tell you those things is so when you jump out there and you start swimming on your own, you're not met with defeat or with this unrealistic expectation that makes you just give up. Like, just opening the business and, man, I thought that I was going to, hit it big and, this was going to be it. And part of the reason why you have that information is because other people have done those same things. Going back to what I was talking about earlier in the video, when I'm talking about how some people, more often than not, when they pick up and put down things, give up on themselves, it's because of these things that we're talking about here. You're not being patient with yourself. You're not being patient with your goals. You're not being patient with your dreams. You have to pace yourself. One of the things that I believe I did discuss this on one of my previous videos. When I first started pursuing some of the things that I wanted to do, that I had a passion about, such as doing what I'm doing now, speaking to people, writing my book, there was times where I put, I'm going to say, more time than I should have into doing certain things to where you're almost burning yourself out. I know it's like writing a book. It'd be some 16-hour days, 17 hours where I would dedicate, to doing this and just diving into it. And as I'm reading back over my material or looking at some of the things that I've done, it didn't even make sense. It didn't even make sense the way that I was wanting to make sense because I was staring at it. I was doing it too long. So I had to come back to it with a fresh set of eyes and do a reset. So it let me know what my limitations were on some things. Now, that didn't deter me. And see, this is what I'm talking about too when I'm saying in other videos, when I'm talking about sometimes you may have to readjust your goals, readjust your mindset for how you're approaching certain things. I didn't just do 116 or 17 or 18-hour day, whatever it was when I was, working towards doing some of the things that I was doing, such as the book, doing these videos and other things, composing talks and speeches. When I did those things and I knew that I would exceed going past whatever it was that I was doing, or going into that realm where I figured, oh, it's not going to make any sense, I found a way to play that to my benefit. Giving you an example, and just using what I just stated. When I said that, you know, sometimes when I had written things and I come back and I'm like, man, it didn't really come out like I wanted or how I thought that it was when I was initially doing this. Just like, man, what was I thinking? It still was a benefit to me, and it was something I could play to a strength later down the road because it allowed me to put those thoughts out, do whatever it is that I was trying to relate, come back and refine those. So it still was some material there that was worthy to be used, so it wasn't time wasted. As long as I knew that going in. But if I just felt it, then I was just doing it. But other than that, you know, I would pace myself. Sometimes where maybe some agitation may start in, or maybe I may become frustrated with whatever I'm looking into doing. And I pull back, say, hey, maybe I need to take a break from this, not just today, maybe tomorrow, whatever the case may be. You have to pace yourself in all things that you do. Even with your passion, you can burn yourself out overextending yourself. I'm finding that out and doing other things that I'm doing. Some of these things is just like, man, you know, this is so fun and so engaging. You know, I just want to go full throttle and just keep the throttle pressed down. But then, like I said, we're all human. We have imperfections. I learned my limitations, and that the work sometimes, when it comes to a point where you're making more errors or you're backing up over yourself, then you're making a mess of things, then it might not be worth it. Going back to that example of me talking about writing in the book and doing what have you, to me, I did find a benefit for that, even though those words that I was laying on the paper weren't just gold and what I was needing to or wanting to achieve. It still served the purpose of capturing my thoughts in that moment of time and just coming back and refining it. So if I did decide to push myself a little harder than I normally would for my regular pacing, then I found a way to use that to my benefit. I knew what I was heading into. That's another part of your research that I'm talking about. Some of the things you do learn firsthand through cutting your teeth on. But one thing that I found that helps in achieving everything that you're doing and remaining focused and just keep laying that pathway to achieving your goals is pacing yourself, being patient with yourself, setting realistic expectations. So that's what I just wanted to talk about today, because it's more often than not one of the things that I found when I've looked around at certain people trying to do certain things and they just give up all too easy upon themselves. Now, keep in mind, there's nothing wrong where if you're doing something and you just choose, hey, this is not for me, it's not what I thought, that's fine. You go on and do something else. But if you're just finding out that a lot of the things that you were really, really wanting to do, you're just putting them down, or you don't even know why you stopped doing it. Ask yourself, what went wrong? Why did I put that down? One of the things I've observed too is with the lack of focus, sometimes people try to put too many irons in the fire at once. Find one thing, and you find one thing to pursue and go after it. You'll find, even though you may be pursuing this one goal, even though you may have other goals that have absolutely nothing to do with the one particular goal that you're doing, through the path that you're carving out to accomplish whatever it is that you're doing, you'll find some little things that you can apply to other areas. You'll learn things about yourself. You'll learn things about your work ethic, how far you're willing to go, your limitations. That was the point of me making this video today. I just wanted to share that with you. And in the meantime, if you have questions, hit me up at my email, ain.kilimanjaro@gmail.com. I'll do my best to answer your question in a video. Check out the book that I've written, Kilimanjaro's The Arithmetic of Family Communication. I'll leave a link in the description box. Hit that subscribe button. Follow me on Facebook, Tumblr, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube. Obviously, I'm here. This is where I'm recording the video. In the meantime, stay encouraged. Avoid being discouraged. I'm Ain. You have a good one.